with an
But to what
AR-15.
extent? To what extent do you just chalk these people up to being less like, the problem of a bunch of atomized, mentally ill people in society anyway, and social media, and
We have
like
always
people.
had for like ever since the internet was invented, we've had atomized, lonely, mentally
No,
ill
but I think the
individuals.
internet has further made people atomized, and
I
more
said
than
that
that,
the
it's
internet.
further made people polarized, especially politically speaking, right? Because we all log onto the internet and we all go to imright.com. We all have a feed that reflects back our political opinions times 10 to us. So we like it that puts us in a box and then serves us content to make us more like that. Like it's like the internet has kind of
I mean,
polarized us.
okay, yeah, the internet has polarized us. Whatever. Look at look at Italy in the '60s. Like they were way. We're gonna like if you want to see what's coming for America and for the West in general, but for America especially because we actually have a little bit of vitalism and fight left in us. Go look at the years of lead. Go look at Argentina's dirty war. Go look at the lead up to the Spanish Civil War. That's what this is going to be like. But there's not going to be clear cut lines. There's going to be many small organizations going out there. And the way you enforce yourself on your enemies in this new world where there's not enemy armies that you can bomb, there's not enemy command structures. You go into the enemy schools, those two school shooters, like last month, or not last month, last year, like the German girl and the black kid. Those were our guys. Like those were right wing guys that went into a school and shot their liberal classmates and then shot themselves. That's
Well,
going to be
they're
coming for
definitely not my guys. You know what I mean? Like fuck
whether or
that.
not you
I
like
wouldn't
it. These are your guys because the
no, I
other
wouldn't
guy.
identify with that. I wouldn't identify with
No,
people
you're
like
not
that.
going to
That's the
identify with them. Not until
I think
you're
when you
forced
I think
to.
when you do that and you go, oh, those are my guys shooting up that school, and then those were their guys shooting up the other school. I think you're playing exactly into the kind of polarization that like
Yeah,
the
you're going to. I'm going to tell you how this always goes. How this went with the Spanish. How this went with the Italians. How this went with the Americans. You're going to say that until someone shoots or kills or stabs one of your loved ones to death, and then you're going to go, "Huh? I'm going to go out there and do the same thing to my opponent's enemy." Like this is how it begins. We're in the beginning stages of it, and it's going to
but
get a
like you
lot
say,
worse.
but like you say, even that is schizo because like you say, there's not clear delineated battle lines. It's like
Yes.
it's all a bit of a mess. Like it's not
Look at
like
the
it's
Syrian. Look at the Syrian civil war. Look at the Syrian civil war that happened like very recently, still going on. You have neighbors murdering each other over very minute differences. Look at the Lebanese civil war. Like we're going in that direction where it's just a bunch of little factions trying to do the most brutal things imaginable to each other to protect themselves. That's where we're heading for,
no,
and it's
AA in the
gonna
chat. You
And I
may
mean,
not.
like,
Just
it's
wait one
gonna
sec. Just to
it's gonna
address
get
AA
way
in the
worse.
one sec. Just to address AA in the chat here. Respectfully, fellas, I doubt Harrison Smith. That's the guy from Infowars. I doubt Harrison Smith is simply lying for attention when he claimed on X that Charlie confided in friends that he feared slash Israel in recent weeks. I mean, I'm going to pull up Harrison Smith's tweet now and kind of get a verification on that. But yeah, that's wild if that's true, man. That's something that you got to look into. That's exactly the sort of thing someone would say for attention on X, dude. Come on, like what the fuck? I mean, like we have to look into it, sure.
Like back to just my original rant with like in terms of like modern day civil wars, modern day low intensity combat. Like don't get involved in this. Like really like keep your head like if I were to tell you anything over the next like 5 to 10 to 15 years, which is how long this is going to take, by the way, keep your head down. Don't go do anything stupid. Don't make friends with radicals. And if you do, be very careful. Be extremely careful. I'm not, this is going to happen whether you like it or not. So just be ready. Just keep that in mind. Go buy a book on the years of lead.
No, I think there's definitely different levels of mental illness. A little bit of low level eccentricity
Wait a
and
minute.
mental. No, I'm addressing Lewis.
Okay.
I'm addressing this person in the chat, right? I'm saying like there's definitely levels and degrees of how you can be mentally ill. A little bit of eccentricity, a little bit of rough around the edges is great. The level of mental illness where you're capable of like violence for your retard political cause is something else entirely. Smells highly competent at a minimum, and Palantir world they still haven't caught him. It's not some dummy, so they still haven't caught the shooter.
Also, this is another thing. Like, I don't like how like everyone has this like grand conspiracy about everything. Like only a blank believes this is a lone gunman. Like it was a shot at 200 yards with a guy sitting on a college campus. That's easy. Like you like if you have if you like have trained just a bit, like enough to make yourself a competent shot, you can do that. My dad can make that shot. My brother can make that shot. Like if like this is not complicated. Like people tend to like everyone's jumping at shadows these days, looking for a grand conspiracy.
No, I agree.
Really
I
have
actually
to, you
agree. I
really
don't
have
think
to
it's that
offer
crazy
answer
that someone
this.
could be shot from a roof. And like I say, when you actually, I'm not like a ballistics expert, but even I could tell that it hit him in the fucking chest and then hit him in the neck. It's very obvious to see what happened.
It's the same thing. Like a lot of people will just continue to believe like schizo stuff. Like looking at these people, like looking at Luigi Mangione, looking at whoever this guy is. All this takes is like studying how to do this and then doing it. Like it's not that complicated. You just have to have a plan ahead of time. Like you could do what Luigi Mangione did.
Okay,
really
dude, can you
easily.
chill? Can you just chill? Because like we're on YouTube and
Okay. No.
try and have some. No, I love the autism.
Kill
Try and
so
have
many
some
people.
awareness of where you're speaking.
I do
when
not
you speak,
endorse
right?
violence. I do not endorse
No,
violence.
great. You know what? If you didn't say sketchy shit, you wouldn't have to caveat it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just like
yeah. I'm just saying that like people make this so complicated. It's like, oh, this has to be like a black ops assassin. No, it just has to be someone who like sat down at the gun range for a few days.
Can see why people would be looking for a meta game at play when so many things have ended up being part of meta schemes, right?
Yeah.
You can see like and you look, Charlie being assassinated by I agree. It's not some big what do you call it, like a false flag thing where like but we don't know for sure. We don't know for sure that they didn't.
We don't know for sure. We don't know for sure. But there's no surety in life in anything, and it's just the Occam's razor. What do you think's more likely that of like in a hot spot of liberalism in this state, one liberal is competent enough with a rifle and dedicated enough to his beliefs that he pulled the trigger, or you think that Palantir and the Mossad are secretly planning to whack Charlie Kirk because he's going to betray Israel or something. By the way, because he's going to say the exact same thing that because he's going to say the exact same things that Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens have been saying for months now. Like,
but this is Harrison Smith's tweet, right, from InfoWars. I'm just going to read it to you. This is from a month ago. Okay, I'm not going to name names, but I was told by someone close to Charlie Kirk that Charlie thinks Israel will kill him if he turns against them. That was on the 13th of last month. Just over a month later, Charlie's like literally dead. Just under a month later. That's wild, dude. That is fucking mental.
It's mental, but it's just like there's just like a rising tide of random violence.
For the synchronicity guy, you're putting off an awful lot of like just faith inside of grand conspiracies.
Also, like the guy who just said like Hex, the Hex guy that just said like people spotted him and didn't do anything. Like y'all need to get this through your head that you're not going to do anything. If you see someone crawling up around on a roof, what you're probably going to go is, oh, that's the maintenance man. Like this is.
Or if you saw someone on the roof with a rifle, you'd think, oh, that's the security. They're watching for threats. You wouldn't think like, oh, that's the fucking like. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I mean, like with the Donald Trump thing, like with the first assassination attempt, sure, there's like some suspicious elements there. I will completely agree with that. But for like this, for the majority of violence since then, like. It's all completely and easily explainable. And we have known for a long time that there are dedicated radicals on the left and the right in this country who are looking for a chance and an excuse to go to war with each other. Like I just don't need a grand.
Yeah, look at the Zizians. Look at the Zizians.
Zizians are hilarious.
Yeah, the Zizians. Like, look at the Zizians. Like, there's just like a random cult of trans people.
They're still around there.
Yeah, and they're still around. Yeah, exactly. There's just like a random cult of trans people have killed like 3 people already just driving around the country. Like they're just out there. And it
really is cyberpunk. Like we're living in fucking cyberpunk. I want to say a massive thank you to TBG for becoming a member and a massive thank you to Des for the super chat. I assume you were trying to tell me that my mic was fucked and hey, we got there in the end.
Born to fantasy, forced to cyberpunk.
We live in the worst version of cyberpunk. I love cyberpunk. I love Neuromancer. I love Blade Runner, but this is the worst version of cyberpunk.
Well,
no, it's the
best.
I don't know about the worst,
but you haven't had your. Wait, hold on a
we're
second. You
getting
haven't had your Neuralink fitted yet.
First
Give
off,
it a minute. Hold on, slow
First
down.
off, it's the best version of Cyberpunk because it's the only one that exists, and it's the only one we're ever going to get. So it's the best.
That doesn't make it the
Automatic.
best, buddy. That doesn't make it the best.
Secondly,
That doesn't make it the best possible version.
Now the thing is, I will concede. I do think all these acts of violence in the last few months, all the political. By the way, just a brief recap of like what we've dealt with over the past like 6 months. Trump was almost assassinated twice. He was shot in the air. 2 of his supporters were killed. We had 2 different chudded right-wing school shooters just go in and air out their classrooms. We had Luigi Mangione whack a healthcare CEO. In Minnesota, we had one guy go whack 2 congressmen or whatever because he did. We don't even know why he did that. Like he just did it. Like don't even know what his politics are. That
one was either abortion or because they sided with Republicans on removing illegal health care.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Those are the 2 main competing narratives. But we don't know.
Yeah. We had an abortion clinic getting bombed. Wasn't a right winger. It was some like Reddit dude who believed in like humanity should die. We had a trans school shooter who just a few weeks ago who like aired out a classroom full of Catholics. We had a what's it called? What's the and keep in mind, I'm trying to keep this.
We had the trans shooter who shot a Presbyterian school.
Yes, that one is.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah.
I'm trying to keep this limited solely to things that have political explanations and not just, of course, the random race violence.
Well, no, because dude, I'm glad you say this, right? And you're painting a very clear picture of the chronological kind of pattern that's unfolding politically in America, right? Of these fucking freak events that someone referred to quite aptly in the chat as jackals, right? But you still got to look at the meta-political picture. Like, so for example, what I said previously, if this is a radicalized leftist transgender jackal who managed to climb onto the roof and take a pot shot, hit Charlie in the chest and kill him, right? That's not that I'm not discounting that, but I still think it's going to be weirdly connected to that lady, Irina. Is it Zarastra? I don't want to say her name wrong, but I generally it's like Ukrainian. You know, the young Ukrainian woman. I genuinely feel like these things happen in cycles and they happen in waves, and we are not, I think, as critical thinking people.
Don't you believe in synchronicities, George?
I do, but I also believe in schizos being influenced by what they see on the TV. So I believe that, like, someone sees something, there are people immediately a GoFundMe pops up for that guy who murdered that woman on the bus, right? And 100,000 black people donate $10 for that guy's legal fund. And instantly it becomes like a polarized thing of like, oh no, he was mentally ill, and this is what they do. They lynch mentally ill black men for, all he did was stab a woman on a bus. Like, poor guy, he's the victim. Like it's crazy how this splits both ways.
Absolutely. It's just the thing where it's like, oh, what was the other act of political violence I wanted to mention in the last few months? The Zizians. Yeah, you got like just this random like trans cult that's going around like shooting Border Patrol agents and whatever. Also, Border Patrol in Texas, like 2 months ago, a bunch of trans people ambushed like this Border Patrol guys. Didn't kill any of them because they sucked, but they wounded one of them.
I saw that. Yeah.
But it's just like it. And by the way, jackal, that's the perfect word for this. It's a war of the jackals. All the lions died in the world wars. The wolves died.
Year of the jackal.
Yeah. All the lions died in the world wars. All the wolves died in Afghanistan. And now we're just jackals just trying to stab each other in our sleep. Like, that's all this is at this point. And
so can I...
Oh, go ahead.
Hector, please. Yeah, it's a beautiful metaphor, though, Lewis. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So I was just going to say, like, Lewis, I think I broadly agree with, everything you've been saying. I mean, first off, 200 yards is nothing crazy. Anyone who's hunted, anyone who has any experience with firearms, that's pretty simple.
He's sitting still, like a still target in perfect weather with a perfect. That's an easy shot. Anyone can make that after a week after range.
Totally.
Anyone can make that.
But then the other kind of my real takeaway, right, is just that the collective unconscious is totally cooked. Like the spirit of the people, I mean, it's just going downhill. And frankly, it has been going downhill. And this has kind of been one of my hobby horse points for a long time. But I mean, we know suicides and deaths of despair and basically any metric that you can use to judge well-being, they've all been going down since the 70s, right? And we've just hit some sort of weird peak where people are breaking and they're murdering people over disagreements. And it's I don't know. It just sucks.
Look,
That's my take.
I agree, actually, for what it's worth. But am I the only one here who was deeply suspicious of the Trump assassination attempt?
I think so.
So the thing is, I'm like deeply suspicious of it, but like I'm suspicious of it in the way where it's like Trump was supposed to die that day. Personally, like that's kind of like my kind of suspicion on that.
He was saved by racial crime statistics. What the spruce?
Turned his head to the side to talk about 1350 and like dodged the bullet. Yeah, it's kind of wild. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
No, I think you guys have some very insightful takes, to be honest, and it's always nice to hear it from the American. Like you guys, and if I have to be brutally honest, it's fucked over here as well in many ways. But from the outside looking in, you all seem a bit shell shocked. Like as Americans, you all seem a bit
war.
You all seem a little bit fucking traumatized, right? Like in a kind of
I'm not. I am, because he's a hop, skip, and a jump away from like my friends and family, dude.
Like this is the thing that I'm like trying to get through people. I'm trying to get through everyone's head. We are in a war. In 20 years from now, when there are books written on this era, this will be seen as the beginning of a era of troubles. Like the Irish Troubles, like the Years of Lead. Keep your head down and don't advertise your political beliefs. And also, make sure you're in good physical health and you know how to deal with yourself. You know how to defend yourself. That's just all I'm gonna. That's
actually very.
I will say I don't know for sure, but I've been feeling for a while that we're at the beginning of a shift. I mean, obviously with the astrology stuff, the Age of Aquarius or whatever.
Yes,
my gut feeling has been something.
Say that again. Are we at a turning point?
Astrologically speaking, we are at several turning points overlapping each other.
A turning point? Say that again.
A turning point, pun intended. Yeah.
Although
this atrocity.
Wait, let's just play Trump out. I've got 2 minutes left of it.
And to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year.
Like, am I tripping? There's something a little bit off about the way he's moving, dude.
6 fingers or something. I know what you mean. It is very like, yeah.
Which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve.
He also looks younger than he normally does. Like Trump's a very old man now. I don't know if you, but yeah, whatever.
Scalise and 3 others. Radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives. Tonight, I ask all Americans to commit themselves to the American values for which Charlie Kirk lived and died. The values of free speech, citizenship, the rule of law, and the patriotic devotion and love of God. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed, because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come. Today, because of this heinous act, Charlie's voice has become bigger and grander than ever before, and it's not even close. May God bless his memory. May God watch over his family, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
For someone who did so much for Trump's campaign, it's kind of a shame that he couldn't spare a real camera. That looks AI. I don't know. I wasn't thinking about it until someone said it, and I'm like,
it's such an interesting point, right? It's like what I was saying earlier about the ring changing fingers on his hand. His hand, the ring really does. If you watch it in slow motion, the one clip that's circulating everywhere, the most zoomed in one, that has obviously been AI enhanced as well. The ring changes fingers from his ring finger to his pinky, back again.
This is why Philip K. Dick was a prophet. We're going to be living in a world, and you're not going to be able to know whether something is real or not.
Quite literally.
Imagine how it goes when Neuralink. Imagine how it's going to go when Neuralink comes and they're going to implant
Oh,
images
what?
into
When
your head.
when they can put fucking memories in your head that didn't take
Yeah.
place? Yeah, that'll be interesting, won't
I
it?
actually
That'll be a
think
nice little.
this is another little hot take of mine. I actually think AI might actually end the internet. It might actually restore us to semblance
Maybe.
of reality. Because like
John Carter had a good essay on that.
yeah, it's gonna get to the point where like where like the only like the AI is gonna get so good, like the only way you can like possibly know that it's not an AI is by like meeting the person IRL. So like I think it's gonna get to a point where like e-dating and like all that, like that's gonna be a thing of the past unless you're like meeting those people IRL consistently.
Yeah.
Like,
Both
that's
AI, artificial intelligence, and actual Indians are going to ruin the internet.
yes. So I actually think that Ted actually might win in the end, and I think the internet might be crushed under his heel. Also, this is like another random schizo take. Anyone else notice that, like after Ted Kaczynski died, AI started coming out, like almost like it was like a sign of the time.
Actually, AI's been there since the 1950s. They just didn't have the stuff to actually run the best like deep learning models.
Well, I know that it's been out for a while. I know that it existed for a while, but like after he died, it started being like made available for like mass public use. Which I always remarked like that was.
What year did he die again?
It was like 2019 maybe.
No, it was years after that. Because I remember it was after. You're gonna laugh, but it was after I was in this Discord. About a year after I left a Discord for a Minecraft launcher, PolyNC.
2023.
It was 20. Yeah, and that was it was about the same time that AI started really getting good.
Like,
so you're actually right.
Yeah. Like I like remarked at the time. I'm not great with dates, but like I did remark at the time where it's like this is a bad omen for what's coming next. Like Ted's death that's a bad sign.
So just to address TBG, seeing as you literally just signed up to be a member, what we would do, and again, there's a whole thing. Lewis actually brought it up earlier. There's a whole thing, whole sub school of astrology to be tapped into around mundial astrology and looking at the natal charts of countries and events that take place in the horoscope of the world, so to speak. But what we would do if we were looking at Charlie and what just happened is we wouldn't look at necessarily the astrological significance of this date. We would look at the astrological significance of this date in relation to him. The schizophrenic chaotic ring inside of a ring that you're looking at on the screen right now is called a bi-wheel. It's a synastry bi-wheel, but instead of being between two couples in a relationship or a business owner and an employee, what we're looking at is the inner wheel is Charlie's natal chart and the outer wheel is the events in the form of something called solar progressions. I won't bore you with the details, but it's one of the oldest Hellenistic astrology techniques, like from antiquity. It's a very basic principle. One day equals 1 year in a solar sense. So however much the sun moves in a day, we map that out across a year and we give you what is called a solar progressed chart. The solar progressed chart is probably the best way of looking at like real life events. If someone gets assassinated, if a country topples, if whatever, you want to be looking at solar progression because it's talking about the very ego and life essence of that thing. When we look at Charlie's chart, like solar progressed, we look at his Pluto, which basically is supposed to indicate death, and we look at how it's square to Saturn and how it's square to Uranus. It's square to his own Saturn, his natal Saturn, and it's square, which lines up with Uranus in the big picture. So if you were like, and I'm being really kind of surface level about this, just to talk to you about like what it means, and I guess what Lewis said earlier will apply to this somewhat. If you're looking at Uranus in Aquarius, which is what is here, right? If you look at his Aquarius, like if you look at today's Aquarius, Uranus is currently literally in Aquarius, and that is square to Charlie's Pluto. Pluto being transformation, Pluto being death. If Pluto is hidden power, it's the underworld. It's like controlling people through fear. In a natal chart, you look at someone's Pluto and it tells you like a lot of stuff, actually. It tells you their relationship to taboos. It tells you their relationship to power, but it can also literally show you how they're going to die. And then if you look at Uranus, which is big ideas, a eureka moment, a lightning bolt, like a very sudden shock revolution or revelation, which is what Uranus represents, the big ideas planet. When Uranus is square to Pluto, that's bad. That's a bad omen. Like that's a malefic for you. That square is tension. That square is like what's the opposite of synthesis? You know, when two things are not in harmony together, they grind. There's like a collision. So his natal Pluto is square to his progressed Uranus. This is really bad in terms of like there's going to be something shocking and explosive that's going to happen. It's going to happen publicly and in everyone's collective conscious because it's in Aquarius, right? And it's like you really have to start like unpacking this shit and looking at it at that level. It's insane the way we break it down, and it's borderline schizophrenic. But once you start seeing it, you can't unsee it, and it becomes kind of mad. Armand, do you want to tell them quickly about the game that we play in the Black Library, Renatal Charts?
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun. So we basically did like 20 questions astrology. Like I took a bunch of like authors, I took some scientists, I took some musicians. I stuck them, like I gave Jord the date, the time they were born, the place they were born. He generated his astrology charts, and he had to guess who it was based on the chart. And he was pretty spot on.
I did get a few of them wrong, but it was like 20.
You did, but like the thing was, there was the ones you did get wrong. It was you got them right after a few guesses.
Yeah. Because things can mean many things, right? It's like Venus in Gemini doesn't just mean that you're gay, even though there's an overwhelming preponderance of people who have Venus in Gemini being.
Shut the hell up!
I'm just saying, you are a bit fruity, and you also have Venus in Gemini. It doesn't always mean, it doesn't. No, wait. Venus being what you love and what you're attracted to, in Gemini meaning the same thing, like a duplicity, multiplicity. It's like you could also be very much attracted to someone who was a lot like you, who was who was a different sex. You could also be attracted to. There are many ways in which Venus.
Yeah, I can think of someone like that, someone who's brown.
It's just the one example I remember that really stuck out to me was Armand showed me this chart, right? And the guy's midheaven and sun, everything was all in Aquarius. And I was like, oh, the birthday was in the 30s. So I was like, okay, so it's 30s and it's a really Aquarian person, probably an engineer, probably an inventor. And Armand's like, yep. And I'm like, Venus in Gemini, so probably gay. And he's like, yep. And I'm like, it's not Alan Turing, is it? And he's like, yep. And I'm like, right, like when you start
that one you got the fastest.
When you start doing this shit, like you start seeing, you can't fucking unsee it, is basically my point. And I'm aware of how schizophrenic I sound. Obviously, we'll keep most of the astrology out of this stream and go back to just like the meta reaction shortly. But yeah, this stuff, just to address TBG's comment and in a very, very long-winded way, this is the kind of stuff we're doing. This is the kind of stuff we're looking at. And some of the astrological correlations and correspondences are unfortunately undeniable. And I say unfortunately because I would really prefer if it wasn't the case. Like I'd really prefer if you couldn't look at the stars and tell when something bad was going to happen to you. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Oh yeah,
you said much. I want to get your 2 cents on this whole thing. Not necessarily the astrology, but the whole, like, how are you feeling about it? Do you feel as shell-shocked as Armand and Lewis clearly are?
Shell-shocked? I've been expecting this for months.
Lewis is like, my body is a trained weapon. Every night before I go to bed, I check my magazines, make sure.
I'm just livid, man. I'm livid.
Livid. All that hot emotion. You need to be. I've been warning you about this forever. I've been telling you that this is where we're going. Like, you shouldn't be surprised by this at this point. Like, I've been telling.
It's true he has, but the thing is, Lewis, you never know. You don't usually know it. You can know a thing with your head, but not realize it until it actually happens. You know, it doesn't set in.
You know what? Here, I'll give a hot take about the Charlie Kirk thing. Now, this is going to sound really bad. This is going to sound like really bad, but please let me explain myself.
every fucking like take that starts with that, you know it's going to.
He's about to say that it was a good thing. Actually, that's what he's about.
Yeah, you know it's going to be.
I'm going to. But here's the thing. I'm not going to say it in the cynical sort of like we need accelerationism and we need to kill like whatever look. Here's the thing. Like what's coming next for the West is going to be bad. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not encouraging it. I'm just acknowledging that we're going to go through some very violent cycles in the next 5 to 10 years. In terms of Charlie Kirk's death, this is actually making Trump get off his fat ass and deal with something other than protecting Jewish people. He has the damn flags at half-mast today for his, I don't even know what I would call him, for his little conservative donor that got shot in the head. You know what he didn't have those flags at half-mast for? For the 5 Christian children gunned down last month in church. He didn't have that flags at half-mast for his damn supporters that got shot at his rally. So if killing his donors makes him actually protect his base, I think it's probably for the best, personally, because Trump
Notice
cares
he
about-
still only did an AI video for our man.
Yeah,
Honestly, I've soured
no,
on
I
Trump a
noticed
little
that.
bit over the
I
course of
noticed
this
that.
term.
Like,
You
the
know,
the thing is, Trump is a selfish, fat bastard that cares about nothing other than his what's it called? Other than his donors. And if his donors dying results in actually having protections for the common base, I think it's probably for the best, personally. That's what my hottest take on this whole scenario is.
Well, yeah, that is a very hot take. And whilst I disagree, because obviously I don't think this is a good thing in any respect, when you look at the big picture, like historical autistic lens of it, you might be right. You might literally just be
Also,
right.
I kind of agree, and I have to like quote. You're gonna hate this, but I'm gonna quote the Old Testament. I'm gonna quote Joseph after his brothers sold him into slavery, and he helps them after the famine. You meant this for evil for me, but God meant it for good. So,
God does work in mysterious ways. We can agree on
also,
that.
by the way, I'm seeing people post in the chat about the Spanish Civil War. First off, Charlie Kirk is
No. We're not doing Spanish Civil War.
No, we're not. I'm going to explain why we're not doing that. First off, Charlie Kirk, if you think about it, is basically our Jose Antonio Rio Primavera, but gay and retarded. Secondly,
Actually, thank you so much, buddy. This is dope. In Cyberpunk, whether the video game or the tabletop RPG, dope tabletop RPG, by the way, they literally had to block off the internet because of rogue AIs. That's a thing that's coming down the pipe, right? Like the trolls that have real personalities and actually do shit. Like an AI agent that you let loose on the internet that has an agenda. That's probably already happening way more than we fucking realize. Probably half of the people in this fucking chat are bots.
And by the way, like if you want like any great like evidence of the sort of like degradation of Western man, like compare Jose Antonio Rio Primavera to Charlie Kirk. Like there's no greater like evidence of our degradation, of the loss of our fanaticism, really, that these are the equivalent figures of our time. But honestly, I think comparing it to the Spanish Civil War, while it can be useful in some ways, is largely false, because at the end of the day, the Spanish Civil War was an actual civil war with actual armies that fought
You've been baited into just spurting out like
wait a minute. Okay, look.
No. I mean, you've literally just been baited into spurting out.
I'm just saying. Look, I'm saying
because like you could do this at any point of history. Like I get you're like tacit support of Jose Rivera, one of the founders of fascism or whatever. It's like you could do. You could do this. I could be like, we've fallen so far from ancient Rome. Like if you read Tacitus, I can't believe that. I can't believe we've gone from. I cannot believe.
You say that Lewis was masterfully baited.
Even Homer was saying that, dude.
Yeah,
they're all right.
That's let's crank it back. Let's crank it back then. Actually, if you compare,
we're cranking it back after being masterfully baited. What the hell?
Yeah, you got masterfully baited. You're gonna need to pipe down.
If you look at what's his face?
Brilliant bait, by the way. Tax insurance. That was great.
If you look at Charlie Kirk and Achilles, who are basically the same figures in philosophical and moral context, do you see how far we've fallen? Really? Do you see how far the West has fallen? Like, imagine if Plutarch had seen what's his face, Charlie Kirk. He'd just be like, "Kill this barbarian." Anyways, whatever. But just the point.
Okay, I'm gonna step in, and I'm going to have to pull like the Tony Soprano. Like in this house, Charlie Kirk is a hero. This guy was a patriot.
He was a patriot. He was an American.
He was a patriot. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, man. I'm gonna have to pull the Tony Soprano. We're not gonna speak ill of the dead right now, Lewis.
Okay, we won't speak ill of the dead. But anyways, back one last.
But dude. Actually, one interesting thing. Again, rather than looking at it politically, because I'm not really interested on a surface level in the politics of it, I prefer to look at it psychologically. And I think Lewis represents a lot of people. I think it's jarring as fuck that someone of his generation is so used to mass widespread violence and political violence that he doesn't respect the kind of reverence of the situation, that he's straight up like, this is probably a good thing because like and like Jose Anton Rivera and all this shit. And it's just like, Lewis, just one second. From the outside looking in, it's like you can't believe how, from purely Jungian sense, you cannot believe how spurgy this looks. And this is what I mean when I say you guys as young American guys are just fucking shell shocked. You are actually traumatized. Like you are actually like, I don't think you realize how fucking jarred out you are by like widespread political violence and social unrest, polarization politically and all this shit.
I've seen more men die on the internet than Ernst Jünger ever saw in his career.
And that's
but-
fucked. That's clapped. That's not a good thing.
Yeah,
I think it
it's
makes you-
cooked.
I think
It's
it
not a
makes
good
you
thing.
very. I think it makes you very detached. I think if you saw someone bleed out in real life, like get stabbed in the neck and have that Charlie Kirk blood spurt in real life, I think it would like fundamentally rock you because it's not the same thing. But I
Hot
get you.
take:
maybe-
non-warrior caste people should not be exposed to video of people dying. Okay, this is a bad development in the human race.
Mhm.
Maybe. But the
Real.
thing is, like, I do have reverence. Like, these things do affect me. But the thing is, only certain, like, with the kids dying, that affected me quite deeply. With this guy dying, it doesn't affect. It's just the thing where it's like
No,
I
I'm
just
saying,
view it-
Lewis, this isn't a comment on you. This is a comment on society. We all should be way more fucking affected by this than we are. The fact that we're all numb to this, and it's just like, like I woke up, I saw the guy bleed out. I was like, okay, this is bad. But then I kind of just, got on with, I'm going to eat some breakfast in a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, we should all be way more affected by this than we are. But we're all very desensitized.
Do you know what do you know what I thought when I saw that? When I saw the video? First off, the first, literally the first thought that came to my came to my mind is, oh boy, yeah, we're definitely in the middle of it now. That's the first thing that came. That's just the first thing that came to my mind. And the second thing that came to my mind is, man, I wish that those kids who were gunned down in church got a half of this media coverage. Personally, those were the two thoughts that ran through my mind. And
No,
look,
I get you.
I'm just. We're just heading. It's just like been very clear to me for a very long time. This is the direction we're heading in, and I'm just not surprised by it. I'm just watching the show, basically.
Damn.
Also, like, hey, I do kind of want to go back just briefly to the original Spanish Civil War thing.
No. We're not doing it. We're not doing it.
Bro, he's reading the
I
history
had
like
to
you
mute.
read astrology.
His autism is so hardcore that I had to mute him. It's crazy. I've never had to mute anybody on a stream before, ever. We are living in a mad world. There is a clip I wanted to show you guys, right, of a reaction.
All around me are familiar
Lord, we have another person
faces,
calling
worn
in.
out places, worn out faces.
Okay, let me play this first. Okay. Do you guys know who Mike Rowe is?
No.
Okay,
I've never
interesting.
heard of him. Never heard of him.
It's just a political commentator.
Mike Rowe?
Mike Rowe, yeah, he's like a really
Mike
weird
Rowe.
Name sounds very vaguely familiar.
Right. And when you watch this, I think it's really sad. I think it's also very performative.
Joining us now is Jack Houghton, host of the media show here at Sky News. Jack, thank you so much for joining us. Let's start with MSNBC and other left-wing outlets' coverage of Charlie Kirk's assassination. MSNBC has been forced to apologise because of its coverage of Charlie Kirk's assassination. I'll read you the statement that has been put out from Rebecca Cutler. It says, during our breaking news coverage of the shooting of Charlie Kirk, Matthew Dowd made comments that were inappropriate, insensitive and unacceptable. We apologise for his statements, as has he. There is no place for violence in America, political or otherwise. And let's just take a look at why MSNBC was forced to apologise. Look at this.
Talk to me about the environment in which a shooting like this happens.
Yeah, and again, to emphasize what you just emphasized, we don't know any of the full details of this. We don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea about this. But following up on what was just said, he's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. And I think that's the environment we're in, that people just, you can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and not expect awful action.
Stick with it because she's about to have an emotional outburst. Guys, just to give you an update for what we know, this is the latest from the news. Charlie Kirk was fatally shot September 10. He was taken to a hospital where he died in Utah. The shot did come from a building nearby on campus, approximately 180 to 200 meters or 200 yards away. Identified by university officials. He was hit in the chest, but the ricochet hit him in the neck. He was pronounced dead at hospital. 2 people were detained as, quote, persons of interest. Both of these people have been released after interrogation. No evidence has been found tying either of those arrested suspects to the shooting. As of the latest, no current suspect is in custody. The shooter remains at large. Authorities are treating it as a targeted attack, not a terrorist attack, and the investigation remains active with multiple agencies, including the local, state, and FBI.
Actions to take.
Man, I just scrolled through Telegram just now, and I saw the video for the first time uncensored just a moment ago. Like
Isn't it
2 seconds ago.
Isn't it absolutely shocking? Like, it's
Yeah.
a graphic, like brutal. Again, especially if you've known
It was so fast too.
Yeah. I mean, if you've known the guy in a parasocial sense, it is really, I'm not gonna say heartbreaking, because it isn't even an emotional feeling that I feel. It's just jarring, like deeply jarring, psychologically jarring. To watch somebody you know, quote unquote, in a parasocial sense die is like very weird, very weird.
Yeah.
Jack, it is just disgusting. They couldn't wait a day before they start trashing Charlie Kirk, saying his comments were divisive, that hateful speech led to this. What do you make of this?
It's some of the most despicable media coverage I think I've ever seen. A man, father of two, he's murdered. These comments are made as he's dying. He wasn't yet declared dead at this point. And so rather than just reporting the mechanics of what's happened, rather than saying at this point, he was shot in the neck with precision, by the way. So this whole notion that it could have somewhat been an accident by a supporter, to put that inference out there before you actually know what's happening.
That is insane. To say that one of his fans could have shot him by accident is an insane conjecture from the left. But I do find it really interesting. This Sky News presenter is like, the female presenter here is literally tearing up in the process of doing this. Welcome, Edom. Hello. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
I'm all right, mate. I'm kind of shocked myself. I'm kind of like, I just find the whole thing extremely jarring. It's like 5 a.m. here. I've been awake for 2 hours. I haven't had any breakfast yet. And I'm just sort of going over the news, looking at people's reaction to it. It's just a weird feeling. I'm not going to lie. So it's not something I expected to be streaming about.
Yeah, that's how I felt. Just weird.
Yeah, it definitely seems like definitely out of place or something. And I mentioned in the chat earlier, I think it could be like a Jackal thing, like a political assassin, because he has been very outgoing and stuff. But I haven't uncovered all the facts or anything yet. But for him to be shot 200 yards in a crowded public place, almost like Trump, but this one was perfectly executed. I don't know, man. That's rough.
Well, the Trump thing, I was actually deeply suspicious of, because of not just because of how it happened and because he got shot in the ear and because it was such a close call and all of that stuff, but because of the coverage afterwards and how we still haven't followed it up and no one still found out who shot Trump and all that kind of stuff. How it was all just buried really quickly. With this one, I don't know, man. Like, it's just so visceral and real that it's harder for me to take more of a conspiratorial approach. But there are many people who agree with you in the chat, saying that they think that this is a false flag of some kind, or that it's this like Mossad trying to make him into a martyr. I don't understand the schizo take of like, this is the deep state trying to radicalize the right, the center right, and make them more right wing. I just simply don't understand that take. I think that's kind of wild. But I'm open to the idea that it could be some like political lone wolf. In the way that kind of Lewis suggested. It's tricky.
Yeah, I kind of believe so too. It could be like Palantir or the Jewish Messiah, but it does sound like a lone wolf type of guy that was like disgruntled. And I'm kind of wondering, what will Nick Fuentes think about this? Because he's had beef with Charlie Kirk over the years with his Groyper wars. So I'm kind of wondering about that too. If he's going to like hear it, or if he's going to be sympathetic.
So Fuentes has largely matured as an individual. What he's doing right now is what he should do. He's expressing sympathies. He's probably going to handle this very graciously, and then he's going to reap an enormous boost to his popularity and to his fan base because of this. That's what's going to happen with Nick Fuentes. I can already tell you that.
Real.
He is without a doubt going to be the person who benefits.
So since Nick is benefiting the most, so that means Nick must have killed him.
Yeah,
he might have a personal interest in it.
Yeah. They find they find the assassin, and it's like Cunny Groiper.
Yeah, and he's like and he's Connie Groiper, and he's a Mexican, and he likes to cross dress.
Yeah. He's like,
no, but it's good just for context of how this shit gets twisted, right? There's a clip of Charlie Kirk from a TPUSA debate back in the day where Cenk Uygur, you know, the guy from Young Turks, crashes the stage and starts being like heckling him with questions, and Charlie's going Cenk like that, right? And no joke, there's a tweet going viral on Twitter right now, 50,000 likes, where the person in question is saying, just remember the time that Charlie Kirk yelled at an Asian woman, chink, 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 in the audience multiple times. This is a man who made millions off of racism and sexism. And the clip is there, like completely dulled down with the sound like muted, and he's going chink, chink, chink in the clip with like nothing to do with Chinese people. And yeah, there's a community note on it. You know, Kirk was not it was actually yelling at Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks. This is not a racial slur or whatever, but it doesn't matter. Right, like 50,000 leftist people saw that and just liked it, and it's like, yay, another racist dead. Like that.
Dude,
that is really the world.
Not only the MSNBC clip that you just showed us, which is of course incredibly gross, but I went on Twitter for like 4 seconds and immediately saw just garbage takes about how it was a good thing or how he kind of deserved it. You know, more so that they were saying he had it coming, less so than openly saying it was good. But I just noped out of there, you know, and that's what I'm.
I don't believe either of those things, and I think that like he did do some good things for us and our cause and our country and our people and such, but like, I don't know, man. He's just. I'm just glad Trump's finally doing something for his base instead of just protecting Jewish people. Personally.
But dude, like it's just
like
cooked.
I think that's honestly such a watered down take, but like whatever. It's like I get it. It's like it's a base take, but it's just like, come on, man. Trump does a lot more than just protect Jewish people. This is a lot more nuanced than this, but you know, fair enough.
He seems to be finally implementing things for anti-Christian hate and such. I mean, the thing is,
did y'all see that thing like a few days ago about that Ukrainian girl that got stabbed to death by that black guy in a subway?
Yeah, we were just connecting that. Like I was saying, if this is the lone wolf, like radical political shooter, the chances are that they went there in order to stop Charlie from talking about that, because the idea is that Charlie's going to downplay that or upplay that, depending on how he wants to use that incident for his kind of rhetoric, and that person was probably wanting to stop him talking about that, wanting to stop him literally spreading racial hate, if that makes sense. If you look at it through the like mind of the leftist. That's pretty much what they're doing.
Yeah, well, and Lewis kind of earlier ran down all the kind of disconnected acts of political violence, and I think it's like this slow buildup. I think this is kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back as to why I just feel kind of weird about all this. Like it's just stuff that's been happening this month, you know, this whole year, really.
No,
just this buildup.
Interesting footnote. What's it called? You guys know that account on Twitter, Stop Anti-Semitism? It's actually going after like people who laughed at Charlie Kirk's death right there. So just an interesting thing to think about for the Israel folks.
Look, Charlie, it's an interesting overlap, right? Of people who will be sympathetic to Charlie. Like it isn't just BoomerCon kind of. You were really right what you said about Charlie Kirk's conservatism being like your parents' politics. I think that's very accurate. But I still think that there are going to be a lot of people who are more right wing, who are more nationalistic, who weren't even necessarily fans of Charlie, who are going to still going to rally around him as like a figure in this kind of moment.
I think we should, and I think he should be rallied around. But what was I thinking about Charlie Kirk? Yeah, it just really is like Charlie Kirk really, like Charlie Kirk is kind of like the watershed moment, I think, because he really was the last sort of conservative in America.
Notice how he went out of his way to not say turning point.
What?
You said watershed instead of turning point.
The appropriate way to cover this story, this huge story,
can I put it on pause real quick?
is to place some kind of characterization around him from a moral point of view is absolutely despicable. Now, to say that it is hate speech to take some of his positions I think it's just absolutely appalling because you've got.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, like, this is a turning point in American politics because Charlie Kirk was truly the last mainstream American conservative that had clout with the youth who supported Israel and sort of like, I don't know what you would call it, colorblind immigration or what. Like he's like the last of that era of conservatives. And now that he's dead, and he's dead in a spectacular and public way, I can't imagine the American right wing is going to be de-radicalizing anytime soon. So that's just my rant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of a good point right there. Yeah, I think more people are going to be.
I just want to read this statement from Nick Fuentes. This came like 8 hours ago, but I think it's really important to read this now. And again, I think what you said, Lewis, about Nick growing up like recently has been, well, firstly, it's been really good to see, and secondly, it's just like I don't think there was ever a timeline in which Nick was going to capitalize on this to make a political point or some kind of crass joke or whatever. But regardless, it's nice to see this from. Well, maybe, but regardless, maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think 10 years ago he would have capitalized.
It's very nice to see this from Nick, right? I'm quoting now. This feels like a nightmare. One of the most horrific things I have ever seen. I feel absolutely gutted and devastated. I pray for Charlie Kirk's soul, his young family, and for our country. The violence and hatred has to stop. Our country needs Christ now more than ever. And like I say, while I don't agree with Nick's spiritual takes and his religious takes, I think that's a really nice sentiment. And I think that's like a really mature thing for him to post, to be honest.
Dude, and I would be interested to kind of hear everyone's prescriptions. Like in these changing times, these weird times, what do we do? You know?
Keep your head down, keep yourself fit, know how to defend yourself. And I don't really know if
sell your cloak and buy a sword.
Yeah, that's basically it. I would also say, like, in general, you should not get involved in the violence that's going to take place over the next decade. You should just try to avoid it to the best of your ability.
Yeah, I think that like advice. Any of us who have the ability to, or any of us who do manage to actually have families, like that's going to be so important, is just
move them
being a good person and making your kids into good people. And just exposing them.
Sure you get your family somewhere safe, right? Because like as a single guy, it's very easy for me to say, but like I live in proximity to like a big city, and even I wouldn't be comfortable like having a family, like it's just like you have to get them somewhere remote enough where you can have like a decent life, I think, which is like
you got to make the cult farm. Get like 3 families together and have goats.
I don't know if it has to go full blown Waco or whatever, but yeah, you want to be at least in the fucking deep suburbs / ruralities if you're looking at raising a family now. And it's really unfortunate that shit's gone that way. That like major urban metropolitan areas are literally unlivable in the West, but that's just realistic, and it's not going to change anytime soon. If anything, it's going to be the opposite. So you have to kind of.
And there's another kind of thing with like the AI, right? Is hurry up and build yourself a library, before the internet is completely cooked and before they start censoring the books en masse with AI, right? Like, buy your copy of Homer, buy your copy of the Bible, buy your copy of Aristotle, like, get on that, ASAP. Some of my advice.
Yeah. My kids are going to grow up and like, they're not going to have access to anything other than like obscure right-wing 20th century texts to learn from, actually.
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem. Whilst I really understand and I'm sympathetic to like guys like you and have been for a long time, I think you're all just like becoming the thing that like I feel like Jung genuinely, like I feel like Jung in the 30s looking at Germany and being like, wow, the spirit of Wotan is rising in like the young men, and like you like it's gonna be just horrific, dude.
Yeah, you know what Jung did? Jung ran like a coward from his motherland. That's what Jung did.
And I think, honestly, he was right to do so. I think the Second World War was like a gross brother war and an exercise in like mass genocide. And I think to run away from it and not partake in it, like, I just have that meta opinion. Like, don't get me wrong, me 5 years ago, I'd have been like, yeah, way more political about this. I would have been making this an explicitly racial thing. I would have probably been talking about, Jose Rivera and all that kind of stuff. But I just see you guys and you're like Wotan. I see your chuddedness as like the spirit of Wotan is rising in like young American men.
It's actually
and
so
it's not going to
wild.
be some big like revolution that's going to be all fun and
Here's
games.
why that's a
No,
good
no, no.
thing.
That's
I think it's
said
good.
the
Yeah, I
exact
don't
opposite.
think you can explain why that's a good thing. I think it's a horrific thing.
I've
in the
literally
Jungian
said the
sense.
exact opposite today. I said it's going to be a brutal, terroristic, 5 to 10 year long thing that's going to be absolutely horrible for everyone involved. And I've said that it's terrible that it's going to happen and that I don't want any part in it. I've said this multiple times. But at the same time, I'm not leaving my country. I'm not leaving my home. This is my country. I'm staying here. I'm not going to go out there and kill people. I just am not going to leave personally. Also, like, to wind it back a little bit, it's wild that the dude who's talking about how like the Odyssey mogs the Bible is over here talking now about like some pussy ass, oh yeah, run away. Like, what would Achilles do?
Well,
What
do you
would
believe
Achilles
in no, but this is what I'm saying. I think you guys glorify violence because you've never experienced it.
You're
You've
the
experienced
one
it a lot.
glorifying the Odyssey and
No,
the
but
Iliad.
dude, you think the Odyssey doesn't have any morality in it? Then you haven't read it. It just doesn't
It
have
has
the
morality.
exact. Yeah, it just doesn't have the exact Christian morality. Anyway, I think you're connecting two kind
Also,
of
like, I'm
disjointed
literally doing the
things.
exact opposite. I'm saying it's going to be horrible. I'm saying it's bad. I'm just saying I will not leave my country. That's all I'm saying.
No, I get the attitude of like the Rhodesian approach. Like, trust me, I do. But when your country turns into Brazil, I don't think there's going to be any honor in living in like a white minority enclave. And like, just being honest.
The whole world.
Yeah, well, what are the choices there, man?
The whole world's a white minority enclave. Why not just stay in your ancestral homeland at that point?
No, I'm not saying. I'm not saying you should leave or you should go. Who am I to tell you what to do with your life? I'm not even saying about like that staying is an inherently political act or whatever. But it's like you're going to be dragged into some nut shit, and like people coming down the pipeline are going to be 10 times more reactionary and right wing and like Christian nationalist and whatever than you. Like it's going to be horrific. Like there's going to be like actual mass violence in America. At which point I don't.
I've been talking about. Like, just I don't really know. Like, I'm not like I'm not chomping at the bit to get this started. It's horrible. It's like,
I think you're all like, again, I'm just making a psychological assessment here. You all seem shell shocked. You all seem hella ready for political violence. Like, in a way, like that's all I'm saying. And not that you're endorsing it, like you say, but that you all just seem that way psychologically. That's what it seems like.
Yes, it is. It's called realism. Like what are you gonna do, George? Like what is it like a bad
well,
idea?
I'll be too old to be fighting any kind of, like I said, I don't think Europe is going to have a civil war. If any place is actually a tinderbox where real violence and conflict could happen, it's in America, where large chunks of the populace are armed. And I think it could be fucking brutal, bro. And not in the way that you guys think, in like a based good way, in a really bad way.
I think it's gonna do you know anything about the Lebanese civil war, George?
Not really. I know how it reformed. I know they have to have a Christian prime minister and a Muslim president.
Yeah. Do you know anything about like the violence committed by both? Do you know
not even slightly? Although I can imagine.
Do you know about like Christians going to mosques and like scalping kids, and about Muslims like going into churches and just burning down and killing and raping it? Like, no, I'm completely aware of what the violence.
Dude, if you can see the same violence as I can coming down the pipe, like, why do you think Jung is a pussy for not wanting to get involved in an unjust like?
I never said. I never even said he should have gotten involved. I said he's a pussy for leaving his country, and I never said he's a pussy for not wanting to get involved. I said he's a pussy for abandoning his homeland to go to another country. That's what I said.
No, wait. By that logic, you think Jung should have stayed and fought for Nazi Germany?
No, not fought there. Just stayed there. Just stay like.
To stay is to get conscripted and fight. Like, you actually have to think about the. You actually I love this. Like, George's already surrendering. George's a Jew. The comments from the chat are amazing.
Okay, first off, do not bully George. Do not bully George. Do not bully like this is. But like it's just the thing where it's like, It's your homeland.
Yeah, of course I
Stay
will,
there
because
and
I'll be,
deal with
of
it.
course I will, because I'll be 45 years old
No,
by
I'm
the
not
time this
talking
shit
about you,
kicks
but I'm
off.
talking about
No, I'm
exactly.
addressing
You,
I'm addressing this dude in the chat. Is what I'm saying.
okay.
I will be way too old by the time this shit kicks off, and I'll be in England,
also,
not in America. So what difference does it make?
and also, like Jung, like that's just kind of my point about Jung as well. Jung was like an old man during the what's it called, during the war. Like he was not a young guy. I just think that that's just cowardly, really, to just like flee from your nation.
Well, did he leave because he didn't like what his country was becoming, or did he leave out of fear of conflict?
He left out of fear of World War II.
Well,
Because
he also didn't. He also really didn't like what his country was becoming. If you read the Wotan essay, it's like
No,
you
I've
can
read
see,
it.
you get a real sense of like what he thinks is going on in the psyche of the German people, and it's sad. Like, and I guess I'm looking the same way at like you guys, and it's with sadness. It's not. I'm not being like patronizing or condescending. I'm like, wow, these guys are also jarred out and shell shocked and like ready for not endorsing it or wanting it to happen, or as you say, chomping at the bit. But these guys are so psychologically ready for political violence because there's a mass shooting every week, because they see it on the media, because they're literally desensitized to it. And I'm just saying, dragging your best friend off of you when he's covered in blood is very different from watching shit happen on Telegram. That's all. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and
I will say
I have
that
no
I
intention
think
to do the other thing. Also, it is just the thing where it's like in terms of safety, like I'm focusing on the West largely right now. But like a lot of the rest of the world is also a tinderbox. I don't think any country in the Middle
But
East.
Lewis, the difference is, for example, if there was ever going to be a civil war in the UK, the only way it could actually happen is with American weapons and money. Some right-wing American government would have to take over, and then be like, okay, we're going to help fund the natives in Britain. Without you guys helping us, it would never happen. America could be a tinderbox on its own because so many of the population are just fucking armed.
Well,
You know what I mean?
I would just simply kind of like refute that, and I would just say that like the UK is perfectly capable of producing some horrific levels, and I think it already is. Like, what if the UK continues on its current path of this sort of what's it called, of like ethnic enclaves just governing themselves and fighting with each other? You don't need any American weapons there. You don't need any American arms. You're just gonna have chavs shanking packies to death on the street.
No, dude, because we have a military still. So unless I've done streams about this in the past, unless the military sided with the people, which is sketchy.
Could I finish my point? You already have areas in London and in other English cities where the police and the military refuse to go and allow the ethnic people living there to govern themselves.
Yeah,
those areas are expanding. As those areas expand, they're going to rub up against each other and they're going to fight each other, and the police are not going to have anything to say about it. Yeah, guess what? The war in the UK or whatever might not overthrow the government, but it will result in a lot of people getting shanked to death on the street in street brawls. Like, I just think
that kind of stuff just seems inevitable at this point.
Like the thing is, like, I just think that you're just like a little bit too unimaginative in terms of like how bad things can get without an actual revolution. And by the way, I don't think there's going to be any revolution. I don't think there's going to be any revolution in Europe or any civil war in Europe or the Americas or the Western civilization. I just think it's going to get increasingly bad and increasingly violent over the next 5 to 10 to 15 years. That's what my take is.
Sounds like fear mongering.
You can
hold on. Let's welcome Noam and let's welcome Max.
Man,
Why don't you
sounds
guys
like
give us
this guy.
Sounds like our
No, this is good. This is good. I like the
Hey, darling.
I like the arguing. People at first were saying this is boring, and now everybody's hyping in the chat and like getting involved, which is very interesting. Yeah, okay.
I'm surprised you decided to show your face here, man, Chad.
No, Dead is. Wait, 1 second. Just to address this one guy in the chat. Bro, you don't. No offense, but you don't get it. I live in reality. The person I am on the internet is the exact same person I am in real life. I say the N-word around my black friends. Right? We are not the same. Your character that you play, where you're ready for reactionary civil war on the internet, is probably not who you are in real life. So when you're like, George doesn't get it. The time for moderation is over. The time for debate is over. That sounds really based and really cool and everything. And wow, you must be so based, bro. But in reality, like, I'm actually out here. Like, I actually am about this. Like, I say my opinions with my name, my face out there. So, like, I can't really handle. Honestly, I can't really handle this kind of like George doesn't really get it. The time for moderation is over. What do you do every day? How far are you doing? How far are you to progressing towards the civil war? Like, it's just absolute fucking levels of love.
I was actually thinking of suing the media platforms for traumatizing me by showing me that clip.
You should, to be honest.
They've impaired on my
Well,
well-being.
actually, I take that back. You shouldn't, because it's probably a lot of people probably should see that.
Real and true.
No, it's fear-mongering. They've impaired on my well-being.
Well, you can go do what you want and sue them if you want.
They've given me
Nothing's
PTSD.
stopping you.
Nothing, and that's
Oh, we should sue them. I'm standing by that. I don't think it's good for just normal people to be witnessing stuff like that so regularly.
They've given me PTSD. Pay me.
Yeah. How could they do that to the Pharaoh, bro? You've got to sue them.
Exactly.
Dude.
I'm sick and tired of this media fear-mongering. Also, like,
bro, you don't get it. I've been around for 12 years. You're a newbie. Around what? Around the internet? I've only been on the internet for like 5 years. I agree. I haven't been making content for a very long time. But what do you when you say I've been around for 12 years, what you mean is you've been in an internet or maybe even an IRL like nationalist bubble for 12 years. If anything, what you're basically saying in this comment is my sense of perspective is completely janked. So like my sense of perspective is completely fucked. You're wrong. Like it's like, no, dude, I'm in reality. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, the average person is not used to seeing this level of violence, and I think that's the overall issue that's going on right now. And I would definitely say that I am incredibly jaded when I see stuff like this. But to be honest, I did have to force myself into watching that clip because I didn't want to see it, but I knew I had to see it because that the level of evil that was displayed was a wake-up call that a lot of people needed.
But you can't hide from it, right? You can't bury your head in the sand. It's literally
I wanted to say it is quite interesting how much you were talking about Charlie Kirk on your streams beforehand.
Now that's a synchronicity for anyone who's interested. Yeah.
But yeah, seriously, like it's all just media fear mongering, and like for example, Zed, it feeds into this loop, this egocentric loop that you have, right? Like the Civil War is coming, the Civil War is coming. It's just new fuel to get you to stay in your cave, and I'm sure there will be some kind of reform or something at some point, but the way Overton windows work is they push extremities, right? Like, oh, they're gonna make us eat bugs, and then they market it as something like really horrendous and gross and poorly textured. You know, you already eat bugs, right? It's already an active ingredient in many things in the Western world, and that's how they push. It's social engineering. So they show you something terrifying, and then they slide in like the actual agenda underneath it. So when it actually does come, you're okay with it.
No, so just take us, land the plane. What do you think the agenda is behind Charlie Kirk's assassination? If that's going to be your take.
Well, it's fear mongering, right? They want everyone to be afraid. They want everyone to be fearful. They want everyone to have this sense of survival. I mean, because you see a clip like that, and the only thing you could really think like ultimately is how fragile like humanity really is, and like how easily something could just be taken away, right? And they want you to be on the internet. They want you to be on these loops. They want you to be sitting there like, we're gonna die. We're all gonna die. It's gonna be war. It's gonna be blood. And what's gonna happen is you're gonna sit there on the internet for another 12 years in fear because of what you witnessed. It's that simple. It's a loop. You're justified in sitting on the internet because of what you witnessed. In your
Zed, man, I don't know what country you're in, but it's like I'm locally involved and I'm a political influencer, whereas you spend your time shitting on whites and Christianity. I do shit on Christianity a lot. I'm guilty of that. I don't shit on white people, and I resent that accusation. Hear from Amy in the chat, you know, like a normal person. Americans do not want a civil war at all, even in the face of each new terror. It's really lame to hear you push, wow, you guys are so shell-shocked and ready for violence. That's your foreign projection. I couldn't agree more, Amy. I couldn't agree more. I hate to be the one who has to be like the daddy. I hate to be the one who has to be the fucking reality check for you motherfuckers. It's sad, actually. But like, you know, that's all I was trying to say. I'm glad somebody else gets it. Holy shit.
Yo, ask what's my